Hello, hello, people of the universe, citizens of the universe. I'm here. I have arrived once again for another live. Got some time. I'm gonna go ahead and actually do something I never done before. While I'm building a little bit of this momentum that I got going with this algorithm, I need to do a sound check. Am I being heard clearly? I sure hope I'm being heard clearly because I got this microphone hanging right in front of me. And if I need to bring it closer, I will so that you guys can get up close and personal with me just like this. But I don't think I'll have to do it like that because it's a pretty good microphone. So I'll just talk loud. You did. All right. So clearly, by the title of this video, we're going to talk about the greatest advice that I could give somebody when it comes to all things spirituality. So all I'm gonna do is basically give a list of some of the stuff that I wish somebody would have told me when I was a child in order to get me further than where I've made it as far as the spiritual journey and whatnot. If you can't hear me clearly, just leave a little comment and say, hey, the volume's low or something like that. I know sometimes with my videos, when I shoot them outside, the audio is kind of harder to hear me, but that's kind of one of the sacrifices you make when you go out into nature. You know, it's a lot bigger of a space, so it's kind of difficult to really get myself heard as easily without a fancy mic setup. While I'm indoors, you know, I got a studio, so it's not as hard to be heard clearly. But either way it goes, I want to make sure that I'm being heard. So just getting on, going on ahead and getting started into this. I just wanted to thank you for coming back if you're here again. And if this is your first time watching this video, regardless of when you watch this, whether you're live or whether you see this much later, welcome. I just started building this community not too long ago. I don't know, maybe about 6 months. I started getting serious with making these videos. And basically, the whole goal that I've got here is to just promote what I know and exchange ideas with people on the subjects of spirituality and how to get further in life as far as our spiritual well-being and getting closer and higher awareness and getting to know ourselves better. Personally, my greatest skill set as far as like the deeper spirituality things, I have these abilities to control my dreams whenever I really feel like it. Anytime I go to sleep, I'm able to recognize when I'm dreaming and I can control my dreams. I can do stuff like astral projection. I have quite a few videos on astral projection because I know a lot of people like that subject. People ask me a lot of questions about that because they've heard about it, but a lot of people don't really know how to get to that point. So basically, all this channel is about is helping you get 2 steps closer, or I don't know, 9 steps closer to getting to be who you truly are, find who you truly are, and honing in on all of your supernatural abilities from like being able to talk to spirits, being able to cast spells. Now, there, all of these abilities you can use them for good or bad, or what people might see as good or bad. But personally, I would advise that you use your power in order to benefit yourself and others on earth as far as expanding the consciousness of the world as a whole. Now, you can use stuff as something that you can, well, for personal interest and whatnot, but that's not very fulfilling in life. So here's the first thing that I learned since this is about me giving the best advice that I've given, I could possibly give. The first thing is life's not worth living unless you have somebody to share something with. So a lot of people I've seen, older people especially, and people around my age, they might spend a lot of time trying to chase after like status and career and whatnot, when really that's not what life needs to necessarily be about the entire time. Of course, you want to achieve what you want to achieve in order to feel good about your purpose here, but you've got to be able to recognize when your purpose is not being fulfilled because of the distractions from your ego. So you got to know the difference between your ego and your better being, because a lot of people spend time trying to feed their ego and make their appearance to be something that is not necessarily nurturing or healthy for their spirit as a whole. So a lot of people will go about a majority of their adulthood, and all they're trying to do is get to the next level of status. So they'll start buying jewelry or start wearing fancier clothes and working an entire career. Maybe they'll go to college and spend years and years in university, and all of that stuff, it has external value, but it has no internal value, because you can wear stuff like this and it might make you feel good or what have you. And when it comes to your blood flow, it'll increase your blood flow. But if you're not aware of who you are as a whole, it's not going to benefit the environment of everybody who's in Earth as a whole. So the biggest advice I can give you is recognize when your ego is getting in your way, because a lot of time people will bash the things that they actually need in life, like those who care about them and whatnot, and they'll sacrifice all that stuff just to try to get that much further in life as far as their status, when really status is just something that the ego feels is necessary, but it doesn't help you with getting to know yourself much at all. So you got to find time to spend time getting to know yourself. Sit down, look within, and take care of yourself and find out who you truly are. And that's when you develop these superpowers and these supernatural abilities. Once you figure out who you are, why you're on earth, and what your special gifts are, because everybody's here with different talents and abilities. So some people are going to be good at some things, some people have to work and practice to get really good at those things, but everybody can help each other out. And if you know that you're naturally good at something, you should teach others how to do that. Once you get to the point where you feel like you do know yourself, it's going to be a natural response that you're going to want to give more. So now that I got to a certain point in my life, now that I've accumulated a certain amount of knowledge, now it's like, okay, now that I know a few things, now I feel like I'm absolutely obligated to share this with people. So that's why I created this YouTube channel, and I'm starting to do things like write a lot more. I'm producing music and I'm doing a lot of different things in order to help other people get more awareness of who they are and what's going on earth. Because I feel like knowledge and status is not anything to have by itself. You have to share that stuff. And that's when it really has its true value, because then it's able to grow. But if I just am reading all these books and I'm keeping on information that I'm reading to myself, that's not going to do anything to help everybody else in the world. So that's why you see me picking up books all the time in my videos, telling you guys, hey, check out this book. This is the book that I'm reading. This is where I learned this. This is where I learned that. Now, when it comes to controlling your dreams, I never read a book on that in my life. Maybe I should be the one to write the books. But I noticed that also, as I'm continuing to share these things with you all, I'm starting to learn more about myself also, especially myself as a teacher, and what my strengths are and what I need to work on as far as delivering my presentation to my what I may call students or colleagues or my peers. So just speaking of books, this is the book I've been reading this week. It's called The Alchemist. Okay. I'm sure you guys heard of this book. This is actually the most widely translated book on earth. At least that's what it says in the front of the book. So this is a heck of a book. It has a lot to do with basically giving a metaphor of life and the journey of being able to find what's within oneself, and searching for treasure. It's about a boy going on a treasure hunt, basically, and he's traveling the whole world trying to figure out how to get to this treasure that he saw in this dream. But yeah, you should definitely check that out. It's by Paulo Coelho. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, The Alchemist. Okay, so continuing on, another thing I want to mention that is some advice about the whole spirituality thing. I know a lot of people like to talk about psychedelic drugs. Now, psychedelic drugs can be utilized as a tool in order for you to expand your consciousness and whatnot. But here's the thing, you have to be in a certain mental state in order to be ready for that. Because if you're not ready spiritually, if you're not ready to experience what it is that you need to experience, and if you're not ready to put death to those parts of your character that are holding you back, if you start doing drugs out of a childish mindset or out of the mentality of trying to escape something within your life, or if you are uncomfortable and you're trying to get comfortable by doing drugs. I know a lot of people resort to drugs whenever their depression is kicking in or if they're trying to deal with something, but that's not how you cope with your problems. Psychedelics are supposed to be taken when you're already at a high vibration, when you feel really good about yourself. Because when you're already at a very high vibration, then you can basically go from the top and bust through the ceiling so that your consciousness can see things much more clearly. But if you're at a low vibration and you take something that's high vibrational, like psychedelic drugs, you might end up getting your consciousness taken to a space where you might not be so well, comfortable. And at first it might be fun, but I'm sure you've heard of people saying they've had bad trips. There, of course, every single psychedelic is different and they're all going to reveal different things to you. But the biggest thing I have to remind people who mention psychedelics to me is that just because you heard that it can do something for you doesn't mean you're ready for them. So don't go seeking these things, because the truth is, once you are right in your mind and you are actually ready for those things, they're going to fall in your lap. Like all this stuff, you're going to be able to attract it like this. When you really know yourself, you can attract anything that you desire at any time. And that's really the biggest thing that life should be about, is being able to create unlimited and being able to attract everything that you desire whenever you desire it. But for some reason, I've seen people, I mean, I've come across countless people who think that because they're not highly spiritually intelligent now, once they take some psychedelic drugs, they think all of a sudden they're going to just boom, expand in consciousness and love themselves more and be aware of everything, and their third eye's gonna fly wide open and their chakras are gonna be aligned. And it's like, bro, it's not how it works. It's a journey. People think, a lot of people that I've come across who are inexperienced with this stuff, they think that psychedelic drugs is a cheat code to enlightenment. And it's simply not. If you're not enlightened now, by the time you take them drugs and you already aren't in the highest vibration, you take those drugs and all it's going to do is give you a good time temporarily. And then you're probably going to just go back into the same lifestyle that you were living before, because you weren't even conscious enough to truly be able to receive the stuff that these substances, these drugs have to offer. Now, I'm not saying nobody should use them. That's to each his own. But the truth is, you don't need them. Nobody needed them. Everything you ever needed is within you already. And every single chemical that these drugs can trigger already are produced by your organs, anyways. So I hear people say stuff about cannabis and they like to smoke cannabis because it's like a spiritual thing for them. You've got cannabinoid receptors in your body already. Your brain can produce all of that high on its own once you're happy enough, once you're enlightened enough. You can get high off your own thoughts whenever you want. I would know, it happens to me all the time. Anytime that somebody is talking about something as if they need it, that's how you know that they don't know themselves very well. So, to get to my next point about the advice that I'm giving to people, you've got to know that everybody on earth is just trying to figure things out. A lot of people are just faking it, whatever it is in life, they're faking their way through. So if somebody tries to come up to you and or they're trying to attract a crowd of people, right? And basically they're like, listen to me, I have the answers. I am the one with the answers. Follow me. You know how people try to do with religions, for example? If they try to make you religious, don't follow them, because any great teacher is going to know that they don't know much. You might know something about a specialized subject, but there's got to be a whole another world that you don't even know exists yet. And once you can recognize that, that is a form of ego death. I've got a video on ego death talking about that in more detail, but I noticed that that's the thing that a lot of people are chasing when they're doing these drugs. They're chasing after ego death. And there's, I mean, this it's just not the answer. You can kill your ego by just taking care of yourself, acknowledging what's wrong with you and fixing it. I mean, bro, it's not that complicated. You're naturally going to expand in consciousness as you love yourself more, because you're going to seek more knowledge, you're going to be more careful, you're going to make wiser decisions, and of course, your standards are going to get higher. And when your standards are higher and higher, the universe is going to have to give you some kind of things to keep you satisfied here. That's the law of the universe right there. If you settle, you're going to get what you settle for. If you never settle and you always are wanting more for yourself, if you always want to achieve more, if you always feel that you deserve the best and you settle for nothing but the best, your life is going to reflect a life of luxury and opulence. It's bound to happen, but you have to, first of all, know that you deserve this and know that there is nothing that's impossible here. If you can think of it, you can have it here. And that's one of the biggest things that I would advise anybody. If it is on earth, it's not out of your reach. You can have it, regardless of what it is. You got it. What's up, John? Man, but seriously, I come across a lot of people who try to find happiness outside of themselves, and that's just simply not the answer, man. It's not the answer. All of this stuff, you just go into a state of meditation, you can figure out all of these things, man. I promise you. And the high that all of these drugs will give you, you could feel that high just from the simple sitting down and looking within yourself. It's that simple, but people try to make it seem all complex and stuff. All right. So to the people who might be a little older, I want to tell them this. It's never too late. So I come across some older people. I've had several conversations with older people, and they'll say some stuff like, uh, well, I wanted to do this in my life, but it's too late now. And what I be telling them all the time, I'm like, bro, whoa, chill, 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 chill. It's not too late. There's no such thing as too late. If you're still kicking, if you're still breathing, then you could still have more things to gain. You obviously have another reason to get up today because you woke up today. So if you keep that mentality the whole time, you got to know that it's never too late to do something that you wanted to do, whether it's big or small. But of course, if it's a bigger thing, you're going to have to plan and make sure you're disciplined enough to get to where you want to get to. But I don't like how some people will get to a certain point in their life, like they feel like they reached their peak and then they'll get stagnant right there. That doesn't do anything for you if you, or if you're telling yourself that it's too late now, you're basically telling yourself you don't deserve it, whatever it might be. So if you know of, oh, for example, actually, I didn't even think about this, but this book that I mentioned earlier, The Alchemist, in this book, there's this old man, and basically he owns this shop, and he has this mentality that it's too late for him to go to the place that he always wanted to go to. He always wanted to travel to Mecca, but now that he's so old, he's basically like, no, I'd rather dream about traveling to Mecca, and I don't actually want to do it because it's not going to end up being as sweet as I dream of it. And I feel like dreaming of it is a lot safer. That's basically what he's saying. Dreaming is a lot safer than actually getting to it. And that is a way of subconsciously telling yourself that you don't deserve something that you desire. And it just, that's just not self-love right there. If you know you want something, know that you can have it. And if you know, if you're totally convinced that you can have it and you're going for it and you're relentless, if you never quit, I promise you, anything in life is going to be yours. You're going to get it. And the universe is going to look out for you. Anything that you desire, you can have it here. There are absolutely no limits on earth. But the whole thing is, now, this is another one of my points. You got to be able to recognize a distraction when you see one, because there's so many distractions on earth, man. It's like earth is just this big video game. And there's a whole lot of like bosses and a whole lot of different kind of enemy figures that are trying to steal your attention or distract you or steal something from you in order for you to not necessarily be able to harness all of your abilities and stuff. So if we're walking through life and we only halfway know that we have access to superpowers, and we believed all that stuff that they told us in school, and we think that there's nothing more to life than just getting enough money to buy a house, get married, have a couple of kids, and then work a job for the next 50 years, then we're not even going to necessarily tune into those superpowers because we never told ourselves that it was important enough to us. On the other hand, if there's somebody who's young and their entire life they keep that child mentality, you know, children believe that anything is possible. You can tell a child anything and they're going to believe you. The reason why is because they have their innocence still and their ego hasn't formed to where now they have that defense mechanism, which is their ego. So now after that happens, you've been, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years old, you're starting to get more conditioned, and people are telling you, no, that's not realistic. No, you can't do that. You have to do this. These are the rules. And all of a sudden they try to put you in this box. But you have to keep the childlike mentality. That's the biggest thing. When you are able to recognize that there are distractions here and you're able to identify one, you're able to preserve your energy because you're not going to allow your energy to be stolen. So if you're starting to notice a lot of those distractions that they put in the media, a lot of celebrities, a whole lot of drama as far as negativity in what they're being promoted. If you go on social media, a lot of that stuff, they're promoting a lot of the negativity. You know, they show a lot of fights. People love to watch fights on the internet. They like to see people show violence. They like to see people do all that ratchet stuff, you know, whatever. And all of that stuff is a distraction. And people love to talk about the nonsense, but people not so easily will tune in to intellectual conversation. And you got to know that that's by design. People are being indoctrinated And of course, indoctrination is basically conditioning somebody's mind to where they don't question something anymore. They just accept whatever it is for what it is, or for what it appears to be, without even digging deeper. So if you see that a lot of these people around here, meaning on Earth, are being indoctrinated and it actually worked on them, if you're the person who still continues to have your free thinking and you keep that childlike mentality, and you really look within yourself and ask yourself, what is it that I really desire? You ask yourself what you really want, and guess what? Then you're starting to get to know yourself. Then you'll set your morals. At a very young age, you should set your standards. Once you set those standards, all of a sudden now you're never going to go below those standards because you set them for yourself. So now the universe has to obey. And now nothing less than this is what you'll have. So now you have a higher potential for whatever it is you attract in life. It's going to continue to be like that. This is just how the universe works, man. That's really all I'm doing on this channel, is showing people how to play this video game called life to get everything that they want. And the cool thing is, since I'm still pretty young, as I continue to enforce all of the stuff that I know about this video game and I continue to learn stuff, people are very easily being able to see the stuff that I'm creating, and they see that, well, I know what I'm talking about. And I know there's a heck of a lot more for me to learn. So that's why I'm so open to people leaving comments and asking questions and putting me onto something, tell me stuff. Because I love to learn, and I know that, heck, you can't learn it all on your own. Everybody needs a teacher. So I'm looking for other teachers and stuff too, because we could basically start a whole university, and really everybody have their specialized categories or their subjects that they talk about, and we could keep this whole community going that we're getting started. Um, if you made it this far, make sure you click that thumbs up button for me, get that algorithm going so that more people can get access to this video. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this stream for, but if you got any questions, feel free to ask any questions or make any comments in the live chat, because I can see you guys. Continuing on though, I got a little bit more advice about what it is that you should really do for yourself in life. I think that people should pay attention to the way that the stars are aligned. There's a lot of people who get obsessed with the whole astrology thing, and I really don't think you should turn it into a religion. But I totally think that, well, I'm aware that the everything that's above something has an influence on things that are below it. So if we're down here and we're looking up at the stars, the energy of the stars is able to manipulate, or should I say influence, the way that we feel during certain times of the year and what we go through during certain points of our existence and stuff like that. So that's why when you look at people who got certain zodiac signs, it seems like we have similar characteristics. That's not a coincidence. It's because people have different perspectives depending on when and where the stars were aligned when they spawned into this world. Okay. So, for example, if I know somebody who is a Taurus, right? I'm a Taurus. So I noticed that a lot of people who have the Taurus sign is as a sun sign. Of course, it gets much deeper than that with your sun, your moon, your ascendant, and all that stuff. But I'm keeping it on the surface level. I noticed that a lot of people who are Taurus mentality, who have that Taurus mentality or that energy, a lot of us are very ambitious. We're willing to be risk takers and entrepreneurs. And a lot of us are, well, the symbol or the animal that represents us is the bull. I noticed that a lot of Taurians are very stubborn because, you know, a bull has horns on his head and he's very aggressive. That's people like us. We're ambitious. We're not afraid to lose something. We'll risk whatever it takes to possibly get farther in life. I know Taurians who are willing to risk all of their money with no hesitation to start a new business because they know that that new business could possibly turn into even more money. I've thrown money at so many businesses. And the funny thing is, whenever you're looking at the stock market and something's making a lot of money, they call it a bullish market, like a bull. So when things are making money, they call it bullish. If it's going down and it's losing money, then they say that it's bearish. But I noticed that a lot of people with a Taurus sign have a innate ability to attract a lot of material wealth and money and material gain and stuff like that. And it's because Taurus is an earth sign, and earth has to do with the material. But that's just one example. But the point that I'm making is the astrology, and when you're able to pay attention to it and recognize what influences the stars are having on people or on the world as a whole, you're able to know what's coming. So you can kind of, in a way, predict the future because you can see where the sun is headed to, where the moon is headed to, and what kind of energy influences is going into, so that you can basically be prepared to, well, experience what is happening in life. So you gotta make sure that you are at least somewhat aware of what kind of influences are happening in the planets. That way you can keep yourself from getting blindsided, because if you're not aware of this stuff, it's happening whether you are aware of it or not. So you might as well pay a little bit of attention, and you might mess around and save your butt a lot of time and a lot of wasted energy. I know a lot of people who don't take good enough care of their body. Here's a big thing: drink some water. Drink some water. People don't drink enough water. Most people don't drink enough water. But if you find out that over 60-70% of your body is made out of straight water, and then you're drying yourself out on the inside, do you really think your body can function at the greatest of its abilities if the majority of what's on the inside of you is water and it needs more water? But I see people drinking stuff like sodas and juice all the time. Now, fruit juice has its perks, but it's also got a lot of sugars in it. Sugar will dry you out. So you need even more water to cancel out all the sugars. But I mean, that's something obvious. I got plenty of videos on food and water, and I'm bound to make plenty more as I keep learning more about this stuff. But the whole thing is here, man. I got a list of a few things, but this is most of what I wanted to talk about. You got to make sure you know a distraction when you see one, so that you can pay attention to what's within yourself. Then that thing called intuition starts going. You start feeling that funny feeling in your stomach when something's wrong and all that stuff. That's one of those superpowers that I'm referring to when I say you can get superpowers. You'll start knowing stuff about situations and people, and you don't even know how you know it, but it'll be factual. That's that intuitive gift. And that's a feminine energy. And a lot of guys aren't really aware that the feminine energy is just as important to tune into, because we're made out of both masculine and feminine traits. That's why we have a left and a right, a up and a down. And that's why there's, well, there's duality to everything that exists. So if you have a creator and our creator made males and females, obviously that means that our creator has male and female characteristics also. So it would only make sense for us to be more like our creator. We need to exemplify those masculine and those feminine features also. But a lot of guys, because of that ego, that defense mechanism that we've created or generated, a lot of guys don't realize how important it is to tune into your feminine side also, like being clean, for example, being clean cut, taking a bath. That's feminine stuff. Taking care of yourself. Feminine energy take care of stuff. You know, women like to nurture others. The woman's role is to nurture the child and stuff like that. That's the feminine role. But it's absolutely necessary for a man to be feminine also in certain characteristics. Now, I'm not saying for him to try to be a woman, but I'm saying a man has to have feminine characteristics in order to truly know himself, because we naturally have a feminine side. It's just whether we acknowledge it or not. But we all got emotions. Everybody get their feelings hurt sometimes. But if all we do is suppress our feelings and we never cry if we need to cry, we just hold it in, all it's doing is bundling up, and it's going to eventually explode because we're just basically holding it all in and we're suffering on the inside. So being aware of how you feel is so important. So men, tune into the feminine energy, and you could do that in an easy way. Just start writing how you feel. Start journaling a little bit. It don't even have to be pages and pages. You could just be like, I had a good day today. If you had a good day. If you didn't have such a good day, just start off with, I didn't have a good day today. And just keep it going. And of course, if it is something negative, figure out a way to visualize how to make it more positive. So if you didn't have a great day today, write down what a great day would look like. That way, in your subconscious, you can attract a better day tomorrow. But that's really all this is about, man. This whole channel is teaching people how to balance their energies out, figure out who they are, access all their superpowers, and ultimately live the life that they really do deserve. Which, of course, you decide what you deserve. You're going to get what you settle for in life. Like I said before, if you got high standards, you're going to live to high standards. If you got great expectations for yourself, you're going to achieve great things. If you got low standards and you settle a lot for the friends that you have or the companions that you have or the people that you entertain yourself by, or the ways that you entertain yourself, if you got low standards there, it's going to give you a lower vibrational mentality also. But I'll tell you this, man. The most intelligent people in the world read. And I know a lot of people who don't like to read books. Bruh, read a book every once in a while. You could learn something and it'll expand your vocabulary. So everybody who's attracted to other beings, which is everybody, you are attracted to somebody's intelligence, whether you realize it or not. Smart people, quote unquote, smart people are attractive simply off the fact that they know stuff. If you want to be more attractive, start learning more stuff. I promise you it'll make you more attractive because you'll have more to offer, because people naturally are going to start seeing you as being more valuable in society. Anytime that somebody has great value in society, that's when their status increases. That's when people start looking at them from a different light. And because people start looking at you from a certain perspective, the universe is going to respond to their thoughts about you also. So if people think highly of you, your life is going to actually reflect that. If you think highly of yourself, your life's still going to reflect that. So naturally, your standards are going to go up. You're going to start attracting all of the beautiful things that life has to offer, like having people who truly love you, true love for yourself. You'll easily be able to get all that material stuff. So if you want a cool watch, you can get a cool watch, because it ain't going to be a problem. And you probably won't even have to pay for it for yourself. People will start giving you stuff when they see how valuable you are. That's what happens in life, man. When people see the value in you, they're willing to pour into you when you see it in yourself. But if you don't even know that you deserve it, and you're not taking good enough care of yourself, people aren't going to want to pour into somebody who's not setting a great example. So the thing is, like, before you start trying to help everybody else out, you got to make sure that you're good within too. So take great care of yourself. Let's see, I'm at like 32 minutes. All right. This has been excuse me. This has been the video that I wanted to do for a minute. I've been wanting to go live. It's been a while, but I've been getting some good reviews about when I give the long videos too. So I wanted to give a long video. I'm gonna keep doing this as my audience continues to grow. It's pretty cool to do it like this, because then I don't have to do as much finagling as far as creating videos, going outside, hoping the audio quality is good enough, having to upload it and put the thumbnail on it, all that stuff. It's a little easier for me to do it this way. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here in a couple minutes. If you guys got anything to ask or say, go ahead and put it in there. But if not, I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you all in, well, more like you all will see me in another video. And, well, I'll talk to you guys in the future. I'm going to get my Saturday night started. You dig? It's time to enjoy myself. I've been working all week. So I'm about to chill. Till next time, y'all. Have a great one.